Inside the War, Netflix, Paramount over Warner Brothers. This story, Badger, I have notes, and we are going to talk about this quite a bit. Ramesh, I know you have some thoughts to share. Can you bring up the notes, Badger? And here is the story.
I have them.
From the Hollywood Reporter.
Inside the War over Netflix and Paramount over Warner Brothers. As Hollywood absorbs the possibility that Netflix could own Warner Brothers, one senior studio executive initially calls the idea a disaster. Days later, he no longer sounds shocked, not because the outcome feels safer, but because he has accepted what the moment represents: a contracting industry with fewer hits, fewer risks, and fewer reasons for optimism. Rather than choosing between competing saviors, he decided to sit back and watch. The fight itself has become entertainment. The drama for how traditional Hollywood will be devoured is now as entertaining as anything Hollywood could ever come up with. The conflict centers on Ted Sarandos and David Ellison, cast as rival claimants to become the final ruler of Hollywood. Sarandos arrives as the ultimate streaming disruptor, confident in algorithms and scale. Ellison enters as a determined heir, backed by tech wealth and ambition, and a commitment to theatrical releases. Both insist they believe in Hollywood's future, yet neither has ever run a traditional studio, and one has repeatedly signaled disdain for the old system he now seeks to control. These are our options. Hollywood's leadership bench looks thin and tired. Bob Iger and Brian Roberts remain in place, but their business model feels dated. Potential successors face boards, stock prices, and shrinking profits that discourage bold vision. Even Disney's latest AI push feels like innovation, less like innovation than retreat. The result is an industry waiting for leadership that never quite arrives. Both Sarandos and Ellison maneuver within Trump-aligned circles as regulation looms. Ellison's bid reportedly involves Saudi money and Jared Kushner's investment firm. Sarandos meets with Trump despite positioning Netflix as an underdog. Promises and political signaling swirl around CNN and federal approval. Hollywood's would-be king increasingly resembles a governor answering to larger forces, not an emperor.
69.
Why would anyone want to own Hollywood now? Box office remains unstable. Broadcast and cable television continue sinking. TikTok and YouTube outperform studios at cultural relevance. AI threatens to flatten creation itself. Soon, anyone with a prompt may be able to scale the gate. Why own the lot when anyone can scale the gate? As bids climb into the tens of billions, the escalating price tag feels like compensation for doubt. When belief in the asset weakens, the number attached to it grows. Certainly something that costs that much can't be worth so little. Hollywood faces a choice between two outcomes that both feel bleak. Embrace the algorithm and risk the disappearance of theaters. Embrace the mogul and still risk losing theaters' credibility and independence. Only one man can win, not because the empire is vast, but because so little remains to fight over. The spoils are so few.
Ramesh, you and I have had several text exchanges. Normally I respond with TLDR, but in this case, I actually read what you sent me. You had some really interesting thoughts about why Netflix really wants to buy WB.
Yeah, I think, well, Netflix has always been about, right, their algorithms, about user data. That's really what they prize more than anything else. So if you're going to buy another studio, you are getting it for its IP. But in their case, I think, and other people have said this, I'm not the first one, it's to probably train some AI models, right? So you've seen, I think, online, like Voldemort as a therapist, or some kid made that video. And I think if you control the IP, right, and you're able to through an algorithm figure out what's popular. I mean, that's how they came up with House of Cards, right? Was, David Fincher and or that infamous actor, they knew that they would have a popular show on their hands. They knew they'd get eyeballs. And I think that's the same idea here, is that then you can create this universe and cross-pollinate certain characters, right? Maybe it's Stranger Things, maybe it's Harry Potter, who knows, whatever that is. And you can use AI to your advantage that way. And you control that, right? You control that IP. I don't know how you enforce it so that other people can't, but I'm sure that's next, right? That every time you use a character that is my licensed character, you'll have to pay something, or it'll be taken down or whatever.
Well, I mean, this is what Disney is talking about. You can make these little, I mean, they make them on TikTok already. These little short films, they look like a Pixar movie. They're parodies, but you'll be able to use up to 200 different characters, Disney-owned characters, to make your own little short films that then Disney Plus will own. There'll be guardrails, and then you'll be able to, Disney will, at their whim, feature the best ones, cutting writers out of it. Just make your own little Disney shorts.
Because their biggest competition is YouTube. I had this talk with someone at Amazon who said, they consider themselves number 3. So if Amazon's number 3, and then Netflix is number 2, YouTube, they'll say, is number 1. And they're not worried about HBO, any of the streaming people. They're nothing burgers. And they'll say, the analogy I was given that I'll give you was like, if Amazon was the Earth, then somewhere like Pluto is Netflix, and then Alpha Centauri is YouTube. So if YouTube is really generated, it's everybody creates their own little movies, their videos, and goes online and does it. That's the competition, right? That everyone creates their own user generated content. Whereas everyone else, the traditional model is they create the content. But if I can get other people to come in and create this user-generated content just like YouTube, I have a fighting chance to compete against YouTube.
It's interesting. I mean,
my IP.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, YouTube doesn't hire creators. Although they do, in the past, they have had funds they put towards certain creators that perform above a certain level. You have to make your bones, so to speak, as they say, make your bones, as they say in the mafia. You gotta like prove you can reach certain metric levels. Once you reach that level, then you can get monetized, then you get paid. So Disney and potentially Netflix are looking at that model, saying, sure, we'll produce our own content, right? But we'll do user generated content. UGC will be a whole other category on the platform using AI of IP that we own. It's not good for writers in the end, or professionals.
It feels like Fahrenheit 451, right? We all become a star. We all get to create our own little niche, sort of like tell our own story. In a weird way, it democratizes, but it also creates so much shit.
Yeah, but then it just creates a whole new meritocracy. There's people lazy as fuck. They're never going to go no matter what tools you give them. But there are YouTube channels like Skywalker Stories and others that are doing better Star Wars with AI and stories the fans actually want. They don't need AI to out their fans, so they know what the fans want. And that's what Disney sees, is that now it gives people who would not have been able to scale the gate and want to the tools to do it, and they know what to do more than any AI algorithm is going to tell them. So those people are the ones that their channels are probably going to go away. You're going to have to subscribe to Sora and have your videos there.
Correct.
But Netflix can also now control streaming windows and theatrical releases and just push everyone more towards a small screen. And that's my big.
That's what they'll do. Yeah.
That's
unfortunately, it's not good.
Not good.
You know what? It's not good. But look, man. I mean, it's really easy to shit on Netflix. I get that. But here's the thing. This has always been their business model, right? It's not like all of a sudden they decided, hey, we're going to change up just so we could buy Warner Brothers. They have always been Netflix first. Everything else doesn't matter, right? So the thing is, theatrical doesn't even fit into what they do. So it wouldn't even make sense on a business level for Netflix to try to do theatrical. Like they don't want you to go to the theater. They want you to watch their thing. I don't blame them for that. I just think that, You know, this is more on, honestly, now that I think about it, this is more on Warner Brothers, right? They can decide who they sell to.
Right.
They can decide. If they choose Netflix, that's on them.
That's
Instead
the
of choosing
rub.
Paramount, right?
That's
Well,
what their
it's-
SEC filing was. Sorry,
Right.
just that they had the better offer, and they went straight to Netflix instead. Why? Sorry,
Yeah.
Ramesh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I mean, I was going to say again, as before, they're corporations. All they care about is scaling. They don't
Yeah.
care about making art. They care about their board of directors, right? They care about their market share. And so there's this weird idea, and this isn't how Hollywood started, where we just have to keep scaling up and make more and more money, and not just a little money to operate, but so much more. It's an unrealistic model. Right. So to your point, I think they're just going, who is going to give us the biggest money, right, to take over? And
Right. And that's also to counter the money they've lost over the years.
Right. Right. I mean, and they've what's it? They've also shelved movies that haven't made that they think won't make money. Again, they're not in the business of making movies. None of these. They're in the business of making money. That's it. More than ever before. It was always, a business, but more than ever, it is a corporate business. And I think that's where the art got pushed aside.
I think no good will come from this kind of consolidation, but one good thing might come from it. We will see Batgirl. We will finally see Batgirl.
We're never getting that fucking movie.